thoughts on The Guest. So
gave it
Mark
a
and I tried to
3
watch it on the plane,
or
and it was
something.
like so bad that it seemed like a parody of itself.
Sometimes just humor just is organic to, a premise like that. I mean, the film gets kind of funnier as it goes on, as sort of does actually our previous films, A Horrible Way to Die and Your Next. They kind of inject humor as you kind of like set like a dynamic between characters, then add kind of ridiculous elements on top of that. It just gets a little bit funnier, and I think our attitude is like, whenever we like winking at the audience, we take our film seriously, but we want them to be able to have fun with it and enjoy it. And I think sometimes it's better if the characters just kind of react to the absurdity of a situation in a way that kind of lets the audience in on it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because like Simon doesn't really write jokes per se in the script or anything like that, but there is like a almost like sarcastic wit to it all.
So bad that it seemed like a parody of itself.
Going back to choosing actors, it really is like do they see that because it's not like necessarily on the surface type of stuff but it's extremely important that that it has it because like Simon said we're trying to make a movie that's fun and accessible for an audience, and the best way to bring somebody in is if they can see the humor in something.
So bad that it seemed like a parody of itself.
Because it's not an obvious genre film, it's an amalgamation of all these different kind of, influences and types of movies kind of put into one. And, I didn't know if people were going to think that we were just being self-indulgent or something like that,
So bad that it seemed like a parody.
Because it's not an obvious genre film.
So bad.
It's never like an obvious kind of like, there's no like jokes necessarily, but there's a very like deep inherent sense of comedy to it. But not everybody's going to really pick up on that or be able to translate it. So just being able to have fun with stuff like that and, and kind of play off of those kind of cliches was a lot of fun too. Just being able to have fun.
People really overhyped Your Next. They were like, oh my god, it's a return to like real horror
True
movies.
horror.
And I was just like, well...
It is a signature of your work together that there is that sort of underlying sort of like humorous touch. I mean, that's why people like Your Next so much, I think, because it was funny, and you've got that strain going through this as well.
People really overhyped Your Next.
That's why people like Your Next so much, I think, because it was funny.
I mean, I guess in like 2003 this would have just blended right in, but that doesn't mean that like it wasn't really just trying to be a period piece or anything. It's not like House of the Devil where it felt like it was from another time independently of just people died in a slasher movie, Like there wasn't anything about Your Next that felt like really all that well made. I don't know.
Your
Like
Next was the best like Home Alone
characters
film.
were awful. The twist was awful.